the age of consent. You know, it differs from country to country. In some countries, it's 18. In others, it's 16. In others, unfortunately, it's even lower. It has depended during history. Like in medieval time, it was definitely a lot lower. Like people used to marry, in some cases, even at the age of 12, in European countries, by the way. And of course, at one point it didn't even exist, but like you can kind of imply it based on when a man was asked to serve in the military. In America, it's even a little bit strange. Like for a European like me, it's very bizarre because at the age of 18, theoretically you have consent, so you can vote, but the age of drinking alcohol is raised to 21. So yeah, it is kind of arbitrary, isn't it? But like, why am I even bringing this up? Because it's not why you think. I'm bringing this up due to my previous video where I showed a TikToker which managed to make a very popular video, and she is basically surrounded by wealth. Like she is in a very expensive looking car, drinking a Starbucks coffee. She seems to be doing well off. She's got jewelry. I assume like she's got a smartphone which she uses to record this. And while being surrounded by all of these luxuries that many people from outside of the United States don't have, she's complaining about the fact that she finished university and she can't get a well-paid job. Like, in other words, like she's complaining that she's worried about her future and she's going to be poor. And of course, the irony of it is that she finished the university and got a degree in marketing, but she's unable to market herself in order to get the job. Right, so I made the comment that I would rather hire Belle Delphine than her. Belle Delphine probably doesn't have a marketing degree, but she's able to sell her own bathwater. So I don't really care like what the university has taught you, but now, one of the things that she's also very upset is the fact that she's under a student debt, as I mentioned in the previous video. And when I pointed out that the main problem is that the banks are giving people like her $80,000 in debt, the answer that I got from many people is that, well, she's an adult. Right? So she's an adult, she's past the age of 18, and therefore, I shouldn't feel sympathetic for her. And the answer to this is that, yeah, like, she should have known better when signing for the loan. I do agree. However, we're not talking about like an individual, because the problem with student debt in the United States is not just one person. It's a percentage, like a significant amount of people do seem to make this very bad choice. And if you're going to say, well, yeah, they're adults, they should know better. I mean, theoretically, you're right. But at the same time, people are subject to propaganda. People are able to be influenced by institutions. And the question is, like, what is the harm in not changing these institutions? What is the harm in not making sure that the propaganda is being removed? Because, like, when I talk about the propaganda, the first and foremost is obviously because when I was 18 and I was in the same mindset like she was, I too may have made this mistake, and I too had this line of thinking which was indoctrinated to me from the schools. And the chances are that your children, if you're going to have them, are also going to be indoctrinated, and despite the fact that they will be adults, they may make the same wrong decisions. So obviously, the problem is that as I asked in the previous video, is why are people like her allowed to make $80,000 in debt? And the answer is that the government is backing that loan, and you can't file bankruptcy for it. Meanwhile, if you try to make a loan to start a business, the government will not back that loan, so you can declare bankruptcy for it, which is why the banks will not give it to you. Of course, the actual question that I wanted people to ask themselves is, why is the legislation set up this way? Why is it that for student loan, especially when it comes to useless degrees, you do get the government to back for your loan, but if you want to make a business that's actually feasible, then the government doesn't? And the answer is that left-leaning people pushed for this legislation. And of course, this is going to encourage people to be wage slaveries, right? Like, they go work at the corporation, don't start your own business. And while you can make the argument that most of the people who are doing this are of the age of 18, take into account that up until that point, they have been indoctrinated by the school system. And so the actual question isn't what does the school system teach you, it's what does the school system not teach you up until that point. For example, it doesn't teach you how to do your taxes, it doesn't teach you how to write a resume, it doesn't teach you how to make a good social media website to promote yourself, it doesn't teach you how to start a business, it doesn't even teach you what body language you need to have during conversations. I mean, there are very great YouTube channels that teach you how to properly make eye contact, how to speak better in order to make pauses right before something important comes up in the conversation. Like all these things that teach you how to be more charismatic, how to impose more respect, how to behave in public. These are not things that the school teaches. The school teaches you how to be obedient, teaches you how to arrive on time, forces you to obey the teacher, makes you ask permission even to go to the bathroom. That's what the school system teaches. And then it teaches even worse things, that everyone needs to have a university to be considered educated. It teaches you useless stuff like trigonometry with hyper-complex numbers, things that you will never use once you finish school. And this is like what most people are being pumped into up until the age of 18. And then we have to go Pikachu face and be surprised that they don't understand how the world works, and they make a student debt of $80,000 in order to go to marketing. You know, and then you also have culture that teaches you a lot of bullshit, like, oh, well, you need to do the job that you like to do. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Like, even if you want to be a lesbian dancing master instructor, because that's what your calling is, it doesn't matter if the economy wants that type of job or not. It doesn't matter if there's even any position available. No, you go do that. Go make your student debt. Go pay those 80 grand. So my point is that, yeah, sure, you know, these individuals, they are adults, but adults can be subjected to propaganda. Adults can be manipulated and swayed. And if the only type of information that is being pumped onto them is that you need to go to university, get a loan, and then everything is going to be fine, don't question it, don't ask anything, and then once you finish university, no one cares. Yeah, I'm not surprised that people are going to end up like this lady, being upset and miserable despite the fact that they're surrounded by wealth, having a midlife crisis, and not having any answers. So they start blaming society, they start blaming all these things. And it's also interesting that no one blames the universities, which are greedy as fuck. Like, you have all these students getting out of universities, blaming society, blaming America, blaming greedy capitalism, but no one is pointing out that these universities are the hallmark of evil capitalism. Like, how much money do they need to teach marketing? Why are they requiring 80 grand from one person to learn on marketing? Like, there are other universities in the world that produce similar output, and they charge less. Well, the reason they charge so much is because they can. I mean, you know, they constantly talk about inflation being done by greedy corporations. I definitely will make the argument that student debt is caused by greedy universities and greedy university professors. But no one talks about it. Notice how interesting that is, right? I find it very fascinating. So, in conclusion, it's the schooling system that should teach people more important skills like how to fix a pipe, how to screw a light bulb, how the economy functions. These are more important than trigonometry with hyper-complex numbers. Secondly, yeah, even if a person is an adult and they do make these bad decisions, take into account that because they are an adult, they can vote. And don't go Pikachu face when you refuse to even acknowledge the problem, and then you see that these individuals are voting for the abolishment of student debt, and individuals like you will have to pay it. Because it seems that the more time passes, especially in the United States, that's where the push is. And when this will happen, then you'll see an interesting rise in inflation. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.